Okay, so lesson 4, concept A, the concept of slope, and we're going to jot down here to the example, define the slope of a line. Which statement is not true about a slope? So I'm going to think back in my head, well, I know slope is the rise over the run, vertical change over horizontal change, or the change in the y values over the change in the x values. So the slope of a line measures how quickly one quantity changes with respect to another. Yeah, it measures how quickly the y value changes compared to the x value. The slope of a line is the ratio is a fraction of the change in horizontal distance to the change in vertical distance. That one, maybe. The slope of a line is the ratio of the rise of the line to the run of the line. Okay, so the ratio of the rise of the line, that's its y values, to the run of the line, that's its x values. Yeah, that one's true. The slope of a line measures the rate of change between 2 points on the line. Yeah, it's how much it changed to get from point A to point B. So the slope of the line is the ratio of the change in horizontal distance to the change in vertical distance. Is not true, because that would mean the horizontal distance is in the numerator and the vertical distance is in the denominator. And if we double check, it is not. The vertical change or distance is in the numerator. So that one is the not true. Okay, example, finding the slope of a line. The following line passes through points K, -4, 3, and point L, 2, -4. What is the slope of the line? Enter as a fraction like this. Okay, well, since the slope of a line is the change of the vertical distance, I'm going to count vertically. So say I pick L as my starting point, and I'm going to end at K. I want to know how fast it's changing to reach K. So we're going to go vertically, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it went up 7. That means it is a positive 7. If I had to count downwards, it would be a negative, because you're going down. So positive, you're counting up, negative, you're counting down. Alright, and then it is over the change in x. So I'm going to count horizontally, and I'm going left, so that means this is going to be a negative value, since I'm going backwards on the number line instead of forward on it. So I'm going to count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's -6 because we counted back. Alright, so I'm noticing there is a negative sign in the denominator, and if you remember from algebra, that is the same thing as -7, 6. So we have -7, 6. And we can also do this algebraically, so by assigning your first and your last number. So say K, I didn't have the graph available, and they only gave me these 2 points. So then the quickest way is to find the vertical distance, which is the difference between the 2 points on their y values, and find the horizontal distance, which is the difference between the x values. So I'm going to label K as my x1, y1, and L as my x2, y2. So I have the slope is equal to the difference between my y values, because that's the vertical change. So I'm finding that distance on the y-axis. So I have -4 minus 3 divided by, or all over, the difference or the distance in the horizontal direction. So then I would have 2 subtract -4. Okay, so then -4 minus 3 is -7 divided by 2 minus a -4. I have double negatives, which makes it a positive, so 2 plus 4 is 6. And if you notice, the negative sign was in the numerator this time. That's okay, because it is the same thing as -7/6. A question that could be asked right now is, how come the numerator started was in rewind. How come the negative sign was in the numerator this time instead of the denominator? And that has to deal with what point I started with. So for this example, with working it out algebraically, I started with k as my x1, y1. That means I started at k and I was starting to and ending at L. That distance is still the same, no matter whether I say I started at L and ended at K. That distance will not change. And that's why the negative sign ended up in the numerator, was just because I started at K this time. When I counted, I started at L, and that's why the negative sign was in the denominator this time, is just because I switched which point I started at. Okay, yay, well done. So if you just have the points, you can find the distance vertically and find the distance horizontally, and that will calculate your slope. If you have a graph, you can just count the distance vertically and count the distance horizontally.